There's a quality that you have that the people around you rely on. Maybe it's your ability to stay calm. Maybe it's your ability to handle a lot of pressure. Maybe it's your ability to hold space and they can express what they're feeling. It might even be that you can see the potential in others that they don't see in themselves. And that's probably the thing that led you to your profession. And it's genuinely one of your greatest assets. What nobody told you is that the same quality, the one that you extend outward so naturally, can quietly become the thing that keeps you from your own next level. When the strength is primarily directed outward, the subconscious never fully learns that it's okay to direct it inward. There's a coach who can see every client's potential and be blind to her own. There are nurses who strongly and fiercely advocate for their patients, but will not advocate for herself in a meeting. There are teachers that believe every child can grow, but will hold herself to a ceiling. And this is an irony. This is identity architecture. It's a strength that developed in a special direction towards others. And there was reinforcement from the environment around that built walls that kept that from being turned inward. Turning it inward isn't a natural thing because it was never a part of what you saw in the world around you. You witnessed sacrifice. You witnessed other people always putting others first. And there's nothing wrong with putting others first, but there's a saying, if the cabin pressure drops, put your own oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. The ceiling isn't a character flaw, it's the way that the identity was formed from the way that we watch the world operate around us. And that's good news because that means that is a gap that can close. Now, I've had many clients have this pattern where they are doing for others, but they have difficulty establishing boundaries and doing for themselves. And they've done the coaching, they've done the journaling, they've even had therapy to try to get over this hump. And they managed to develop a great deal of emotional intelligence around it, but they just couldn't reach the thing. And so when we do hypnosis together, we can uncover that misperception in the identity and correct it. Because when we're young and we're growing up, the way we see other people operate, there we're like, oh, this is how the world works. When we're young, we don't question it. We just know what allows us to be accepted and gets us the love and attention that we need. And we also see what causes the people around us who are important displeasure. And the mind will make a note of that because it wants to avoid having that displeasure pointed at the self. So when that strength, when that ability to hold that space, when that ability to see potential, when that ability to stand up gets turned inward, even partially, something shifts. And it's really hard to describe it. It can be subtle or it can be big. But what will happen is you'll notice that the decisions stop being hard. These are things that once the identity shifts and it begins to lock into place, many of my clients don't even notice the small moments. They come back and they talk to me and they share little moments of their day. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's really changed. No, 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 no. I'm like, no, wait a minute, back up. When you and I started working together, you told me X, Y, and Z. And now we're over here at ABC. That's a difference. I'm like, oh, yeah. And then they'll go out and they'll have an interaction where in the past they would have handled it very differently. And it's a significant interaction. And they're the new person without any effort. And that's when they come back and go, oh my God, something has changed. So when the standard you've been holding for others, when you begin to start holding that same standard for yourself, the belief that you extend to other people and you start extending it to your own becoming, the possibility of what's available to you, there are no limits to you. The impact that you can have on others, you truly want to serve others, that impact actually expands. So when you turn inward, Your impact expands outward because you're no longer running on partial capacity. You're no longer running at this level of this glass ceiling that was self-imposed at the identity level. You can think much bigger, much further, and make that difference. You're not depleting yourself in the process either. You're giving from a version of yourself that is energized and that is excited to keep growing. So what's one thing that you have ever told a client or a student or a patient in your exact situation right now? What is the advice you've given them? And are you taking your own advice? If that question lands and you're ready to close the gap, our training is coming up in July the 26th through August 1st. And that's where I teach this work. And it's also the place where you can have an experiential experience learning a mind-body self-hypnosis that gets you well on your way to creating this for yourself. The link is going to be in the description below. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when future videos are dropped on the channel.